Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our developer sync. Just going to give updates on what everybody's been working on since our meeting on Monday. Nazar, if you want to start off, please.
Sure. There was a problem with previous update that it was crashing sometimes with like a very specific edge case, like 1 byte of thing that it got fixed finally. So we can run it without crashes. And then there was another like unfinished thing that when you are plotting in the background and you already have some commitment to tags created, it's not expanded with new pieces plotted. That was also implemented, so we use all of the plotted space all the time when we are trying to solve for the challenges. And the next step would be to have mapping created for the objects that you put on the network, such that we can later retrieve them from the plotted pieces. So this is what I was working on and will be working on.
Awesome. And I got a chance to review that PR. Looked good to me. So, so I think is that pretty much done, and we're ready to move on to the committing the object mappings.
Yes, I just didn't merge them because I didn't want to disturb anything before the demo today, but I will go ahead and merge it.
Okay, great. Any questions for Nazar? Okay, Justin, you're up next.
Awesome. So over the past couple days, I've been working on fixing an issue with the status page, not detecting the testnet going down. I'm basically updating it to be able to detect the actual status and health of the substrate node. I'm using Polkadot.js. Feel like that should work pretty well. So far, so good. Just got to get that finalized. That's going to be my main priority moving forward, trying to have that wrapped up by the end of the week. Obviously, been continuing to track PRs for the dev updates and continuing to upload videos. And my main thing moving forward will be, like I said, finishing the status page. I had some updates that I need to do on the desktop farmer repo, just adding the licenses, renaming it, etc. And then from there, start creating the documentation for Subspace v1 and getting that testnet propped up.
Great. Any questions for Justin? Okay. Just some feedback, Justin, since Nazar is very, very close to having the first version of the Subspace code ready for the testnet. That's really going to be the priority with everything. As soon as we're ready for that, just to get that on the DigitalOcean node, have the status connected to that, making sure that at least internal to the team, that everybody's aware and ready to run a node there. It's going to be a little bit of a unique setup process because we're going to have to preload. We're going to have like a single node running, preload the history of Kusama into it, and then open it up to the wider network after that. But it looks like we're on progress to have at least maybe Kusama uploaded when we go for the first testnet. We can talk more about that later. I just want to make sure you understand that we're trying really hard to get that done before we get into the offsite next week.
Definitely, I can make that happen for us.
Great. Okay, Ozgun, you're up next.
All right. So mostly yesterday I was working on finishing the GPU article. I wrote a detailed mathematical background on that. So anybody who wanna dive into mathematical details will have a really easy time for figuring out what we are doing and why it is faster now. And a very small fix to documentation of slots 256 and 189. And today I was trying to understand the branch that Nazar is working on, which will be merged soon, so that I can work on the making farmer to a library from binary. So today I spent understanding the code, and I will probably spend more time on that because it's not trivial for me. That's my update.
Do you have a specific understanding of what you're going to be doing to move that into a library?
Yeah, we spoke with Nazar today about 10 to 15 minutes. He explained it well to me. I believe I got the basics, but I might need some details more, maybe on the road. So it will depend on how much will I understand of the current code. Then I can ask more questions, or it might be enough to I can move on my own and turn it to a library.
Okay. And when do you expect you're going to finish with the review of the code and actually start extending or refactoring the existing code?
I believe end of the Friday is a realistic estimate.
Okay, it's going to take you the rest of the week to review. And you're just reviewing the farmer code. You're not reviewing the substrate consensus code.
No, just the farmer code, but I mean line by line, understanding everything.
Okay. If you could try to speed that up, I mean, I know farmer seems like a lot, but it's actually pretty small compared to the code we have in substrate. It's tiny compared to substrate.
Okay.
So if you can try to start, like, maybe spend one more day working on that and try to get some refactoring done on the farmer so that we can start this process and giving feedback on it, you know, like answering your questions or giving feedback on the way that we're doing it. I'd like to get some refactoring started before the end of the week. I mean, I know, like, given you know, unlimited time, it would be great if we could spend a week reviewing the code, but we just don't have that much time.
All right,
I don't
I'll
think
try
we
my
need to understand line by line. You just need to understand how it works in general, because you wouldn't be changing any like actual logic. You'll be more like either restructuring or wrapping with something.
Okay.
Yeah, Nazar's designed it pretty well to sort of compartmentalize and hide the internal details. And we're just really changing the kind of the interface, the public interface, or giving it a public interface rather. So it's more like taking the CLI and kind of turning that into what's exposed in the CLI and making that more into a lib than, you know, having to really know the nitty gritty of how it works. Like, we can get to that over time.
Yeah, okay then. Okay then. I can make it much faster then. Yeah.
Okay, great. Any questions for Ozgun? Okay. Serge, you're up next.
Yeah, so yesterday we had a discussion with Jeremiah on next priorities for me, and we updated board, and I was working on some research directions we discussed. Namely, I was checking if we still need to provide custom types if we want to connect to chain APIs using Polkadot.js after this metadata version 14 update, and the answer is most chains didn't update yet, and probably that explains why only few people have this undefined event decoding issue. And also I was checking how can we have a zero fee transactions if we want to deploy a relayer, so we don't have to, you know, transfer balances manually. And the answer is yes, we can have zero fee transactions. So yeah, this is something we can discuss if it's sustainable in the long term. And also I created few small PRs. One was already merged. It was about skipping unknown para IDs. So previously relayer was just crashing if there was unknown parachain added. And now we just skip it and show error. And also I have implemented reusing of existing feed IDs. So instead of creating feed IDs every time we restart relayer, we can reuse already created. And that one is in review. That's all.
Awesome. That sounds like great progress, Serge. What are your next steps right now?
Let me check board. So probably next step, I will be processing Kusama blocks and saving them to file system as we discussed yesterday. Yeah, I will start like maybe with a bunch of blocks and yeah, see how it works.
Okay. So the zero fee transactions are good. That's going to make it a lot easier to do this. And then for if we don't have the custom types, remind me again where that fits in, what that prevents or how that complicates it.
So we were discussing how can we submit blocks as hex instead of
Right.
JSON, and yeah, one of the potential workarounds was to use updated metadata 14, but we can still wait until everybody updates. But yeah, for now we only can submit JSON.
Okay. Okay, so
Since,
that's fine. Go ahead, Nazar.
Yeah, since scaling encoding is actually non-structured internally, like, I mean, it doesn't have structure built into it. It needs structure to be decoded. Maybe we can just take those hacks, like headers and extrinsics and everything, just concatenate it. Perhaps.
I was thinking about that too. Yeah, but we need to make sure we are encoding it properly, right? So that's like,
I guess we can experiment with that, like take our block, concatenate and hex, hard code into the code base and try to decode it if it actually succeeds. If it succeeds, then that's like universal rule probably.
yeah, I can do that.
Okay, but that's still a little bit of an optimization. So let's push that into the backlog. And right now we'll just focus on uploading it as the hex, or sorry, as the JSON. And I have a feeling that we're going to go through this process of like bootstrapping this test network a couple of times. So I'd rather just sort of get to the end to end of like how do we bootstrap it once and get it working, and then we can bootstrap it efficiently in the future.
Yeah, but I think it's like actually short-term priority, because once we start processing Kusama blocks from Genesis, like I think transaction size will become an issue.
Okay.
So
But we
it will
don't have we're just guessing right now as to kind of what the difference is between the encoding sizes.
no, it's
little
just
bit over 2x.
visually you don't have to guess. I mean, it's quite significant difference.
How much is it? Is it like
I don't know,
10x or
like
2x?
Hex is 2x
half
plus
screen.
it has some of the structure, so it's a little bit more than 2x. And also, like everyone who would try to download them will have harder time to decode it actually.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, we can start with Kusama. We can submit Kusama as hex, because we don't need custom types for Kusama blocks.
Okay. Okay, let's do that then. And then we'll solve this problem once we start integrating the parachains.
Okay.
Okay, any questions for Serge? All right. Leo, you're up next.
Oh, well, as you know, we got this first relayer app version. I was checking the last Serge updates. Actually, I realized that there is a new parachain added. So today in the demo, actually, it was not working. I had to fix it in the moment, but it works. So I was updating that. And after that, I think that yesterday I have started with these Polkadot apps tasks, and I was reviewing how the block authoring and all these missing components like the epoch count in the front end apps was showed, and I realized that all this kind of information is extracted from the API derive from Polkadot.js, and as we don't have it available for us, it will never be showed in the front end. So maybe we will have to work in some kind of extension of the API derive. I was thinking that other projects made that way actually. They created an extender header with this block author like encrusted in the AppDrive package. So we are getting this from the solution. So we have to query the solution and put this in the extended header to be able to show our header author hash. And also in the same way, the error counter actually is fetched from another method for the AppDrive, and we'll maybe have to extend this also to be able to show this information in our Polkadot apps. And about this undefined, I also checked that there in Polkadot apps, I tried to find if there was another chain with metadata version 14, and I wasn't able to find anyone using it for now in the Polkadot apps. They are all using version 13. And I realized that I went to Polkadot apps to see how they were showing this information, and the metadata version 14 got like it's like structured in a different way. It doesn't have like modules array. It have like separated in all the types and everything. So we'll have to work with that, like in the same way, like extending that for the metadata version 14, or just wait to be fixed by the Polkadot apps project. And yeah, I started this Polkadot app, so I will be working with these kind of things. But I wanted to comment that maybe I will reopen this Subspace.js project, because in there we have to extend this AppDrive and actually include it in the Polkadot apps project, like maybe like a package, or maybe just like a JSON file. And maybe we can talk about that, because it's the only way that I find to be able to show this era component and the custom authoring information for the block.
Nazar, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it depends on, you know, I think we can implement it in Polkadot.js. Whether we need to move it into a separate package, I don't know. I guess it depends on how much time we have for that. It would be nice, of course, but I don't know.
No, I think that it's possible to just import the interfaces and the definitions in the Polkadot apps API I think package. I don't remember well, but it's not extremely necessary to have this in an external package or something. So I suppose that I can work with that, like doing this manually, doing this AppDrive manually imported in Polkadot apps. I will check that to confirm it. I left in Notion the links on what are the methods that they are using to show this in the Polkadot apps. So if anyone wants to see that, if it's there available, we have to do something. I have the deployment of the CD on the CDN about the Relayer app. Should I work the Cloudflare CDN or DigitalOcean CDN, or just it's the same for you guys?
I think something like S3 bucket might be the
Okay.
easiest.
Well, we don't have an AWS account. Like,
I think we did.
No?
Go ahead, Lou.
No, I don't have access
You
to
guys hear
any AWS account, actually.
Sorry, it froze for me for a second. What did you say, Leo?
I don't have access to any AWS account. I just have access to the Cloudflare and the DigitalOcean accounts, but if you can.
Yeah, so we
Grant me
have an
access to
AWS account. I haven't used it in a long time. It's going to be a little bit of an effort to set that up correctly for. Okay, sorry, I need to switch networks. Give me just 1 second.
If there is like a simple way to host it on DigitalOcean, like without setting up the whole virtual machine and stuff, we can just go ahead and do that. I'm just afraid that we'll have like lots of separate droplets for every single like front end page.
Well, DigitalOcean just launched their whole apps thing, so you can now do like a continuous integration into them, like where it just runs like a Node.js server, kind of like Heroku.
I mean, we don't need like the whole virtual machine to serve like a few static files. That virtual machine can serve like millions of static files. So like for every single application, we wouldn't want to spin up the whole separate VM probably. Just not cost effective.
Yeah, I think a droplet is overkill. We just need to host it on a CN. And I don't like, we could do it on AWS eventually, but that's like a whole nother service that we need to set up and do access permissions for. Don't have time to do that right now. So whatever is just the simplest, whether that's CDN, like, don't we already have our website deployed on Cloudflare right now? That's what we're using for hosting.
Cloudflare is like a proxy. It doesn't store. You don't have like a folder to put files into. You proxy basically to your backend. They will cache files.
Oh, I thought it was like Amazon CloudFront, like you could just
CloudFront
deploy
doesn't store
directly to it.
files.
Okay, so in that,
Go into S3 and it just caches them.
yeah, but I think it's like, anyways, okay. So DigitalOcean has a service where we can just upload some files and they do the hosting for us, or do we have to set up a droplet just to do the hosting on the CDN?
I will do some research on that. Yeah, I'm not sure if we'll be able to.
Okay, so bottom line, Leo, whatever is easiest. I'm pretty sure that I know the last time I used Cloudflare on AWS, you literally just said, here's my bundle, and uploaded it, and they did everything for you. So I don't know if, too many acronyms, Cloud, what's the other one that we're talking about? Not CloudFront, but Cloudflare, yeah, sorry. I don't know if there's one, if out of all these options, one of these does that. That would be preferred. If we just literally, here's our bundle, upload it, we're done. We just point it to our whatever domain that we want, versus having to run a server just to host the static bundle. That would be a little bit overkill at this point.
So Cloudflare in documentation has information about CDN, but they are using Google Cloud Storage as an example. So it can be S3, it can be any server basically. So then don't store files explicitly.
Okay.
Okay, I will follow that then and made it the easier way actually.
Okay.
And I think that just that for now. Yeah.
Okay, so on the Polkadot.js, let's keep it all inside that repo for now, versus having to mess with Subspace.js and then require that, like publish it to npm, and then require that in and all that. That's a little bit too complicated of a workflow for now. So let's do whatever we need to do within Polkadot. Like we said before, we'll start working on Subspace.js after the offsite, and we have a better idea of how we want that to be structured and fit within the architecture.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I will do the effort to maintain all that in the Polkadot apps itself. But if I am forced to do this in a different way, I will communicate it in Discord.
Okay. Are you blocked by anything right now on Polkadot.js, Leo, from anyone else on the team?
No. Actually, I should just merge the CSS branch to move forward to the next relayer branch in GitHub.
Is that pending review by anybody?
Maybe.
Have you submitted that for review, Leo?
Yeah. Actually, we have a chat in there, and I will have updated with the last changes, adding this
You
documentation.
might need to re-request review if you didn't, because it doesn't show
Okay.
for review request for me.
Okay, I will.
Okay, so
I think that after apart of that, I don't have any other updates.
okay, so you had some feedback, Nazar, and Leo fixed it, but he didn't see the review because he didn't, or you didn't see the review because you didn't request it. Okay, cool. Okay, great. Any questions for Leo from the group or comments? Okay. On my side, I've been reviewing Nazar's PRs, working with some third parties for some engineering contracts we're going to be doing, working on our scalability design, and just trying to make sure that everything is coordinated for the upgrade for the next version of Subspace on our testnet, and working on the engineering offsite as well. Yeah, a lot of different things, but nothing too specific to talk about here. Any questions for me before we close out? Okay, great. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time.
See you. Bye bye.
So guys.